I'm 70 years old this year. I've worked nearly 5 decades, raised a family, and seen the world change in ways I never imagined. Retirement isn't just about stopping work, it's about protecting everything you've built. If you're planning to retire with a pension, there are 9 important things you need to know. These are not theories or headlines. These are hard lessons I've learned through personal experience, and I'm sharing them so you don't have to learn the hard way. Number 1. Scams are getting smarter and they target you first. When I turned 65, something changed not just in my life, but in my mailbox. Every week, I was getting flyers, free dinner invitations, phone calls, and letters from people claiming they wanted to help me make the most of my retirement. At first, I felt flattered, I thought. Maybe they know I worked hard, and now I'm finally seen as someone who made it. But the truth hit me fast. I wasn't being honored, I was being targeted. These people didn't know me. They knew one thing: I had money coming in, and that's all they needed. I remember one man who called himself a retirement strategist. He promised an 8% return, guaranteed, with no risk. He said it with a smile, like it was some secret club I was lucky to be invited into. For a moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe I could sit back and make more money in retirement than I ever did working. But something in my gut didn't sit right. So, I did something smart. I brought the brochure to my son. He works in IT and is far more skeptical than I am. Within minutes, he was on his laptop, showing me that the company wasn't properly registered. In fact, the man's license had been suspended 3 years earlier. That guaranteed return, it was part of a high-risk annuity scheme with fine print longer than a phone book. I almost fell for it, and if I almost did, I know others have. Not because they're foolish, but because these scams are designed to look legitimate. They use words like safe, protected, guaranteed, and lifetime income, but the only lifetime they're looking after is their own. These scammers make money off your fear, your hope, and your desire to do the right thing for your family. So, here's what I've learned. Always ask if someone is a fiduciary. That means they're legally required to act in your best interest if they avoid the question. Walk away. Check their credentials on official websites like finra.org or the Certified Financial Planner Board. Never sign anything under pressure, and never let a free steak dinner cost you your savings. You've worked too hard to build what you have. Don't let someone else take it with a smile and a handshake. 2. Your pension alone won't be enough. When I first got my pension estimate, I felt a wave of relief. It looked solid. I did the math: monthly checks, health insurance still in place, Social Security to follow in a few years. I thought, well, I should be fine. But I was looking at the numbers on paper, not at the real world I was walking into. Within a couple of years, things changed. Property taxes went up. The car needed repairs. The roof started leaking. And most importantly, life happened. My daughter went through a divorce, and I helped with the grandkids. My cousin had health issues, and we flew to visit him. None of these were in the plan, but they were all part of life. The pension covered the basics, but it didn't stretch. It didn't bend. It was fixed. That's the part nobody really tells you. Pensions feel safe because they're predictable, but life isn't predictable. You'll need more than that fixed check to navigate the twists and turns of retirement. I was lucky I had a small 401k from my last job and some savings. That gave me breathing room. But if I had only relied on my pension, I would have been in trouble by year 3. Let me be clear, I'm grateful for my pension. It's steady. It's reliable. And I know many people would love to have one. But I also know it's not enough, especially not in today's world. You need to look ahead and ask yourself, what if inflation spikes? What if your spouse gets sick? What if your roof gives in during a winter storm, like mine did? That's where savings, investments, or even part-time work come in. Not because you failed, but because you're being realistic. Diversify your retirement income. Look into a Roth IRA if you're still earning. Consider dividend-paying stocks or other sources that grow over time. Keep some cash set aside for the unexpected. Retirement isn't a straight line, it's a winding road. Your pension is the car. But you still need gas, a spare tire, and a map. 3. You will pay taxes. Often more than you expect. Let me tell you about my first April after retirement. I was feeling good. The checks were coming in. My Medicare was set. And I thought the hardest part was behind me. Then came my tax bill. I hadn't expected it to be that high. In fact, I hadn't planned for it at all. No one had explained to me, at least not clearly, that my pension would be treated as taxable income, I assumed. Maybe foolishly. That, since I already paid into it during my working years. It would be tax-free now. But that's not how it works. The federal government considers most pensions fully taxable. And, depending on your state, you might pay state income tax too. I live in a state that does tax pensions, and when I added in Social Security and a few small withdrawals from savings, my income bumped me into a higher bracket than I had anticipated. That meant more taxes, less money in my pocket, and a lot of head scratching. So I started doing what I should have done earlier. I planned. I met with a CPA who specialized in retirement. We reviewed my withholdings. I moved some savings into Roth accounts. I even looked at which states offer tax breaks on pensions, places like Florida, Texas, and Nevada. Now, I'm not saying you need to move to save on taxes, but you do need to be aware. Taxes don't go away in retirement. In some ways, they become more complicated, and if you're not careful, they'll eat into the money you thought you had available. Talk to someone who understands retirement taxes, not just your neighborhood tax guy during April. This is year-round planning. Consider spreading out withdrawals, adjusting how much you take from which accounts, and making use of tax-advantaged strategies. Don't let taxes surprise you like they did me. Because once you retire, there's no annual bonus or overtime shift to cover the gap. 4. Don't wait until it hurts. Preventive care matters. When I was working full-time, I didn't go to the doctor unless something was clearly wrong. I told myself I didn't have time. I was raising kids, working overtime, and putting everyone else's needs ahead of my own. I figured a little soreness, a bit of fatigue, or an occasional headache was just part of getting older. Then I retired. Suddenly, I had the time, but by then, the consequences of all that putting it off were starting to catch up. The first year after I stopped working, I finally went in for a full physical. I hadn't had one in over 5 years. The doctor took my blood pressure, did some labs, and sat me down. He said, "You're borderline diabetic, and your blood pressure is high enough that I'd like to start medication today." That hit me like a brick. I hadn't felt that bad. Sure, I'd been more tired lately. I'd gained a little weight, but I still walked the dog. I still worked in the garden. I thought I was doing okay, but inside, my body had been warning me for a while, and I just wasn't listening. That day changed how I saw retirement. I used to think retirement was about freedom from work, from stress, from routine. But the truth is, if you don't take care of your health, retirement can turn into a series of appointments, medications, and medical bills. That's not the freedom I had in mind. So, I started small. I joined a morning walking group with my neighbor Bill. We meet around 7:30 and walk about a mile. We don't set records, but we show up. I cut back on salt. I learned how to cook vegetables without drowning them in butter. I even started doing chair yoga, something I never thought I'd try in a million years. It's not about perfection. It's about prevention. The truth is, once things start to go downhill, it gets harder to bounce back. Your body doesn't recover like it used to. And the longer you wait to start taking care of it, the more effort and money it'll take to manage the damage. So, get your checkups. Medicare covers a wellness visit every year, and many preventive screenings are fully covered too. Take advantage of them. Don't wait until something breaks. Retirement is your reward, but only if your health lets you enjoy it. Trust me. Feeling good at 70 beats trying to fix yourself at 75? 5. Healthcare will be your biggest expense, not travel or hobbies. Before I retired, I thought healthcare would be just one of many expenses. I figured I'd travel a bit, buy some books, maybe even take a woodworking class. But the truth is, nothing eats into your retirement income faster than your health costs. And I didn't fully understand that until the bills started piling up. Here's something most people don't tell you Medicare helps. But it doesn't cover everything. You still pay for premiums, deductibles, co-pays, and any services Medicare doesn't cover at all, like dental, vision, and hearing. And don't even get me started on prescription drugs. In my second year of retirement, I tracked what I spent on health-related costs between Medicare Part B premiums, a Medigap plan, prescriptions, a dental crown, new glasses, and hearing aids. I spent over $6,000. That's more than I spent on food for the whole year. I don't say that to scare you. I say it to prepare you. A lot of people budget for retirement like they'll be spending money on cruises and grandkids, but they forget about the basics, about the things that keep you moving: sleeping, seeing, hearing, and digesting. Those costs don't stop when you stop working. If anything, they go up. What surprised me most was the little things: over-the-counter pain relievers, supplements, medical supplies, even handrails for the bathroom. It adds up fast. Not all of it is covered by insurance. And the older you get, the more frequent the bills become. That's why I always tell folks nearing retirement budget for healthcare like it's your rent. Build it into your monthly plan. Assume it will grow over time. And shop around for plans because Medicare Advantage, Medigap, and Part D drug plans all come with different out-of-pocket costs and coverage. Do your homework every year during open enrollment. What worked last year might not be the best for you now. I switched drug plans after realizing my previous one no longer covered 2 of my medications. That change saved me over $900 in 1 year. In short, healthcare isn't something to deal with later. Later costs more, later hurts more. Plan now because your body doesn't take a vacation just because you've retired. 6. Long-term care can drain everything. Plan. While you still can, I never liked talking about long-term care. Nursing homes, home health aides, memory loss. Those aren't things you want to imagine for yourself. When I was younger, I used to say, if I can't take care of myself, just roll me into the woods and let the bears sort it out. I thought I was being funny, but when I watched what happened to my cousin Ed, it stopped being a joke. Ed was a healthy guy, didn't smoke, stayed active, worked as a school principal until 67. Then, one night, he had a stroke. He survived. Thank God. But he never fully recovered. His wife tried to care for him at home, but it was too much. They brought in a home health aide, but that wasn't enough either. Eventually, Ed moved into a skilled nursing facility. It was a nice place, clean, professional, respectful, but it cost over $8,000 a month. That's nearly $100,000 a year. And their insurance didn't cover it. Within 2 years, most of Ed's savings gone. The house they planned to leave to their children sold. Everything they worked for wiped out just trying to keep Ed safe and cared for. That was the wake-up call for me. I started looking into long-term care insurance in my early 60s. It wasn't cheap, and I dragged my feet at first, but I knew I didn't want my kids to face the same pressure Ed's family did. I wanted options. I wanted dignity. And most of all, I didn't want to become a financial burden on the people I love. Now, I pay for a hybrid policy. It combines life insurance with long-term care benefits. If I never need care, my kids get the life insurance. If I do need care, I get benefits to help pay for it. It's not perfect, but it gives me peace of mind. Here's the truth. Medicare does not cover most long-term care. Not the kind you'll likely need if you live into your 80s or 90s. Medicaid might, but only after you've spent almost everything you own. And by then, you have no choice. So plan early. Look at your options before your health declines. Talk to an advisor who specializes in elder care planning. Because once you need care, it's usually too late to qualify for anything affordable. Retirement isn't just about freedom today. It's about security tomorrow. You may never need long-term care, but if you do, and you haven't planned for it, it could cost you everything. 7. Inflation will eat away at your pension. Quietly, when I first retired, I was getting around $2,000 a month from my pension. It felt like a solid amount. My mortgage was paid off. I wasn't commuting anymore, and I had a simple lifestyle. At the time, I remember thinking, I don't need much, this should be enough. But here's what I didn't fully understand. That same $2,000 doesn't go nearly as far today as it did 10 years ago. Back then, I could buy a dozen eggs for $1. Gas was under $3 a gallon. A dinner out with a friend cost $25. Tip included? Now everything, and I mean everything, costs more. Groceries, insurance, utilities, even a haircut, and my pension. Still $2,000 a month, no raises, no adjustments, just the same number on a piece of paper, while the world around me keeps getting more expensive. That's inflation. And the tricky thing about inflation is it doesn't punch you in the face. It creeps in quietly. A few cents more here, a few dollars there. You barely notice it at first, but over time, it adds up. Year by year, your purchasing power shrinks. And one day, you realize you're having to cut corners just to stay afloat. Some pensions offer a COLA, cost of living adjustment, that increases your check each year based on inflation. But mine doesn't, and many don't. If you're still working and have a say in your retirement plan, ask about it. If you're already retired, like me, you need to find ways to compensate. For me, that meant being smart with my savings. I didn't put everything into a savings account earning 1% interest. I set aside a portion in dividend-paying stocks. Nothing risky, just stable companies that pay out a little bit each quarter. I also made adjustments to my budget. I shop smarter now, cut out things I don't really need. And I'm not shy about using senior discounts. But what helped most was being realistic. Inflation is a fact of life. If you don't prepare for it, it will quietly erode your retirement like rust on an old car. My advice? Run the numbers assuming your costs will rise by at least 2 or 3% every year, and if your pension doesn't rise with it. Build in a buffer. Whether that's savings, investments, or just being cautious about lifestyle inflation, you've got to plan for prices to go up, even if your income doesn't. Because inflation doesn't retire, and it doesn't care how careful you were when you were working, lump sum or monthly. That decision is for life. When I received my retirement paperwork, I had to make one of the biggest financial decisions of my life. Do I take my pension as a lump sum payment or receive monthly checks for the rest of my life? On the surface, it seems straightforward. One option gives you a big pile of cash up front. The other gives you smaller, predictable payments for as long as you live. But it's not that simple, and once you choose, there's no going back. I agonized over this decision. I stayed up late crunching numbers. I talked to my son, my accountant, and even my old coworker Frank, who had retired the year before. Everyone had different advice. Some said take the lump sum and invest it yourself. Others said stick with the monthly check for security. Here's what I realized. The best choice depends on you, your health, your financial habits, your family situation, and your risk tolerance. For me, I chose the monthly payments. I liked knowing exactly how much would come in every month. I'm not a stock market guy, and I didn't want the pressure of managing a large investment portfolio in my 70s. The regular check gives me peace of mind. I can pay my bills, budget for the month, and sleep at night. But I know folks who chose the lump sum and did just fine. They had a good financial advisor, invested wisely, and enjoyed the flexibility. It let them buy a smaller home, help their grandkids with college, or cover unexpected medical expenses. Just know this, it's a permanent choice. If you take the lump sum and mismanage it, there's no second chance. If you take the monthly payments and die early, your family may not get anything unless you chose a survivor benefit. More on that next. Either way, this decision shapes the rest of your financial life. So here's what I recommend. Take your time. Don't let HR rush you through the forms. Ask questions. Get advice from someone who doesn't make money off your decision. And most importantly, be honest with yourself if you're good with money. Understand investments and want flexibility. The lump sum might be for you. If you want stability, predictability, and less stress, the monthly check might be better. Either way, choose the option that lets you sleep well, not just today, but 10 or 20 years from now. 9. Protect your spouse. Even if you're not around, this one is hard to talk about, but if you've been married as long as I was, you know that life has a way of testing your plans. I lost my wife a few years ago. We had built everything together, our home, our family, our dreams for retirement. And while I won't go into the details, I'll just say this planning for each other's future isn't just smart. It's an act of love. When I chose how to receive my pension, I had to decide whether to take the single life option, which pays a higher monthly amount but ends when I die, or the joint and survivor option, which pays a bit less each month but continues for my spouse if I pass first. I chose the joint and survivor option. Yes, my check was smaller, but I could never live with myself knowing that she might be left with nothing if I went first. I've seen friends who didn't make that choice. They wanted the bigger check. And I get it, money's tight, but when they passed, their spouses were left scrambling. Suddenly, the income was cut in half. But the bills weren't. The house still needed maintenance, groceries still cost the same, and the loneliness of grief was made worse by financial stress. If you're married, or even if you have someone you care for, think carefully about this decision. Your pension isn't just yours, it's part of the life you built together, even now. After my wife is gone, I don't regret choosing the survivor option. It gave us both peace of mind while she was still here. And if things had gone differently, she would have been okay, not rich, not spoiled, but safe. Also consider life insurance if you didn't choose the survivor benefit. It can help fill the gap if something happens to you. Don't leave your loved ones guessing or unprepared. Retirement is about more than income. It's about responsibility, about making decisions today that protect the people you love tomorrow. Think of it this way, every check you get isn't just a number, it's a promise. Make sure that promise lasts longer than you do.